Partysonfacebook.com. Let's get this party started. This is your host, Michael Gofreddy, and for this class, I'm going to start off with what I suggest you learn first if you're already running ads and want to get a bit better at them. For those of you who have not launched your first ad yet, I am going to be launching a beginner's course that will get you started from the first step. But for this, I'm going to assume that you've already hopped into the ads manager and you've tried to do some things. Now, what you should understand is the first thing people find to be so attractive about Facebook ads is the detailed targeting. And the first thing, the easiest thing to explain is that you can target interests and you can target demographics. So people will usually set up a campaign like this. Boom, here's our example. We're going to go over to the ad set, which is where we define who we're going to be targeting. And I usually see something like this. First of all, please make sure you always use a lifetime budget. I cannot emphasize this enough. A daily budget is too hard to control, especially if you're working on a low budget. And also, just in general, you want to know how much you're going to spend, not approximately how much you're spending per day. So let's go down a little bit. You probably figured out how to set your location. That's pretty intuitive. And you set your age. In this case, I'm going to use the example of a Latino party. So, Latin American music, reggaeton, salsa. So I'm going to do age. I want both men and women, so I'm going to include both. Language targeting, I'm going to leave open because that's usually not necessary. A little hint I'm going to give you here is I usually go mobile only because right now in 2018, 80% of Facebook traffic is on mobile anyway. So even if you're not wasting a lot of money, you're wasting money on desktop. No one's going there. So here's the thing that most people will do, is they'll set their ages, set that, and then they'll start going, okay, so I have a Latin party. What do people like? They like Latin music, right? Sure. Why not? They like reggaeton. And I'll put these interests here until my thermometer gets high enough that I have a big enough audience. Maybe they're cool. So I'm trying to guess what these people like. But I'm going to tell you something. For now, forget about all of these interests. I'm going to assume that you're a party promoter that already has some people going to your parties. You've had some success with your offline marketing, etc. So you have your people. Today I'm going to teach you how you can easily retarget those people. So, I'm going to forget all about these interests here, and I'm going to teach you the beautiful world of custom audiences. As I said, this is how you're going to reach the people who are already familiar with you. So, I always like to open up a new tab here so I can have two things going at once. And I'm going to create a new audience. So, as you saw, I went over to the this drop-down menu here. I picked audience. That brought me to here. I'm going to hit create custom audience. And if you watch this video to the very end, I'm going to tell you which types of these audiences I have found to work the best. So I'm going to explain a couple of these. The first thing most people understand is the customer file because it is the easiest to explain. So what that would be is you upload an email list. I typically don't use that because, quite frankly, the email lists don't correlate well with the person's Facebook account, and you need thousands and thousands. It's also not going to be updating automatically since it is just a file you're uploading. So let's ignore that for now. Website traffic. If you have a website and you have installed Facebook's tracking code onto it, you can make a custom audience of retargeting people who visit your website. I highly recommend utilizing that one if you already have an active website. App activity, we're going to skip over that for now because none of us are app developers or promoters. This is a relatively new feature that we will get into later. And engagement. This one is very easy to understand. It's people who have engaged with your page. The first example I'm going to give you, the most logical if you are a party promoter and you have recurring events, is the event interaction. So this is going to be an audience of people who have interacted with your parties in the past few days. So first, make sure you pick the correct Facebook account. We're going to set how many days. Of course, it depends on what data you have. Maybe it's an annual event, so you need to put 365 because you had a whole down season. But in my case, I'm working with a weekly party. So Facebook highly values data that is 90 days fresh rather than 90 days or 91 days or older. So if you can do a 90-day audience, great. I'm going to go here, and since I have a page that does a diverse basket of events to different demographics, I'm going to look for just the ones related to these interests. And once you've selected all the parties that are relevant to the audience you want to create, you're going to go here. I'm going to call this Latin Party 90 Days. So boom, create audience. Okay, great. So this may take up to 20-25 minutes for the audience to be fully ready and for it to tell you exactly how many are in the audience. But that does not stop us from moving ahead and creating our ads. So we're back in the Ads Manager here. You see we have our 3 tabs. I'm going to go back into the ad set. Hopefully you are familiar with this already. And here we have our lifetime budget, our dates. Right below that is where we find our custom audiences. So boom, since this is a fresh account here that I'm using to give you guys an example, my audience shows up right there. So as I told you, as a special bonus at the end of this video, I would share with you which of the types of custom audiences I've had the most success with. So here's the thing. You're going to hear me say this over and over again, that the key to success with ads on Facebook is videos. Why? For 2 reasons. 1, people love to see videos. And 2, they're great for collecting data. Let's go back here a second. You can see there's various different types. I showed you the event one, which is, it is very important to target your people that have been to your events, but I'm going to also highly encourage you to create video view audiences. So you can see here that I can filter, if I have good videos, I can filter out the quality of the type of people. So since I'm working with a relatively big party promoter here, I'm going to go to people who viewed at least 10 seconds of your video. This means that they were somewhat interested. Now why? What is the advantage of this over the event response campaign? Pretty much this. It's a bigger data set. You'll see in the end here, we're going to jump cut to 20 minutes from now, and you will see that the audience I create out of the video view audience is going to simply be bigger. The Facebook algorithm is pretty smart, and it can figure out for you stuff better than we can, micro-targeting. So we want to leave our audience big. Okay, so I'm going to name my audience. I have certain abbreviations I like to use. I'm going to call this Video Views Latin Parties 90. Boom, create audience. Partiesonfacebook.com, we are back. We waited about 15 minutes, so now let's check out our audiences. And you see we have the 2 audiences we created before, and they are both a pretty healthy size. Look, we have 12,000 people who replied to my events in the past 90 days, and I have 58,000 people who watched my videos, at least 10 seconds of them. So as we know, that is a good quality filter. It's not just everyone who received my ads, it's actually people who watched the videos. As I told you before, the video audience typically is going to be bigger, and I really suggest you test both of these since they are very powerful tools. Stay tuned for our next video. I believe this is one of our most important, most valuable videos there is. It is about why most party promoters suck at writing ads, and I'm going to introduce you to the basics of A/B testing. Can't wait to see you there.